Whether you're doing a section hike of the Appalachian Trail, an epic expedition, or maybe even your first hiking trip ever,
skip the pain, shame, and money I spent in 33 years of hiking so that you can feel more confident outdoors with these tips, and more importantly, get outside and have some fun. So listen up, I'm a primitive survivalist, and there's a very common saying in survival that cotton kills. Always opt for wool or quick dry, which includes your socks and undergarments, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Because if you're wearing a shirt like this one, not only is it gonna chafe, but it can get wet, and that's a surefire way to get yourself towards hypothermia and end up on a peak like this, needing rescue, layers, or just feeling like a dum-dum.
Another great way to feel like a dum-dum is scooting on your butt downhill on slippery or steep bits because you don't have a hiking stick. But to be fair, that is actually pretty darn fun.
And if you don't have one of these, you can use just like a nice stick, which is really important because sticks are fun. And also, if you don't have a nice stick, how are people gonna know you're a wizard? Look at my wizarding stick.
Especially if you're doing longer treks or a lot of hills, a hiking pole makes a huge difference. It disperses your weight, and it also takes a lot of pressure off your joints, which is great for people like me who have chronic pain or joint issues. By the way, links for all my main gear in this video are in the description below. And a lot of people don't realize that hiking poles are really good for helping you stretch, which means you can hike for longer and prevent injuries. And take my word on the stretching because I'm a retired contortionist. As a bonus, you can also rest your head on your hiking pole when you choose a hike that's too hard and you start to question all your life decisions.
Magic. I'm a wizard.
I'm always so surprised at how few
Potion.
people bother to bring electrolytes on day hikes and multi-day treks.
For the record, when you're doing your electrolyte mix, make sure there's more water than that. Whoa! Yeah, that needs more water. Drink your potion!
Having these on hand is what makes the difference between trudging through the last few miles of your hike and being present and being able to enjoy two of my favorite parts of being outdoors, taking in the scenery and spending time with good company. The other thing that'll take away from your opportunities to just enjoy where you are outdoors is not breaking in your gear, specifically your shoes and your backpack. And just like tip number 1, I always opt for wool socks. And here's a little tip. If you're often stopping to tie your shoes, instead of doing a regular over-under knot, do a double, as you can see here. It creates a little more friction so that even when the bow comes out, your laces stay tight around your ankle and you don't need to stop your hike to re-tie your shoes.
There's actually something in here. Oh, it's our next tip. Look at that.
Believe it or not, most people who are rescued outdoors are not people doing multi-day expeditions. They're people who went for a day hike or a quick overnight and weren't prepared, which is why I'm telling you, you must have some sort of small survival kit. It literally only takes one wrong turn or one change of weather or you not wearing the right kind of layers to be in a serious survival situation. And the number one reason people end up in a survival situation? Well, I'm gonna answer that in the very last tip.
But here's the thing, even if you have all these survival items, shelter, water, fire, food, people always forget the most important thing to pack in your survival kit is your attitude. Which brings me to my next tip. Well, you gotta hike your own hike. A lot of times, especially when you're a beginner or intermediate, it's so tempting to go out there and like jump way out of your comfort zone to do the epic thing. But instead of jumping out of your comfort zone, just make it 10% bigger. Part of the beauty of coming into nature is that you get to connect with yourself the beautiful world around you and all these living creatures. So do it with kindness, especially to yourself.
And one of the best ways to be kind to yourself is to do your homework and make sure you know the area you're going into before you get there. I know that sounds obvious, but it literally just takes one wrong turn to put yourself in a survival situation. There are countless stories of hikers who have been within a few hundred feet of the trail or circling the same quarter-mile radius only to literally end up dead. If you can, use an app like AllTrails to download a map ahead of time or bring a paper map, because oftentimes if you think you're lost, it's already too late. And by the time you think to check your phone, you actually don't have service and you're completely screwed. Almost as screwed as if you don't follow the final tip in this video. But first, let's talk about using the bathroom.
I peed over there. Also, I found trash, which are two of the most common mistakes. Walk far away to pee and don't leave trash.
General protocol is to be 70 paces off trail to use the bathroom, and if you're using toilet paper, do your best to pack it out with you, or at the very least, dig a hole deep enough where you can bury it.
I have one more trick. Where did she go?
Before my last magic trick for you, here's the last tip.
The number one rule of survival is don't put yourself in a survival situation. One of the most common reasons people need rescue, or worse, die doing something as simple as a day hike or an overnighter, is because they didn't let someone know where they were going. Always, always, always let somebody know where you're going, not just for accountability and safety, but for celebration, because then you can send them pictures of the view, you can tell them stories about your hike, and you can share the joy with the people you care about. And last but not least, I want you to share a tip you learned. Take out your phone, leave a comment, and make it like a trail logbook. Tell a story, share something you learned, so that the newbies and I can learn from your wisdom. Okay, bye. I do really like this stick. It makes me feel special.